Today, we'll be taking the algebra of complex number. Algebra of complex number. When we're talking about the algebra has to do with the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So today, we'll be taking the addition of complex number, the subtraction, the multiplication, and division. So when we are talking about addition, for instance, let's take addition. Now, in addition, now let's say you are having two complex number given. Let's say Z1 is given as A1 plus IB1. Let's say you have Z1 as this, you have Z2 to be A2 plus IB2. So if we are to find Z1 plus Z2, let's say this is what you have. You have Z1 to be I1 plus IB1. You have Z2 to be A2 plus what? IB2. So you are asked to find what? Z1 and Z2. I'm just using this as instance. Before I go into question, I want us to have this basic understanding on how to add first. Are we together? Now, we have Z1 to be this. We have Z2 to be this. We want to add Z1 and Z2. Now, how do we add? Now, if you are adding, Z1 plus Z2 will be, Z1 is what? A1 plus IB1. Then plus A2 plus IB2. Now, this is how you add. When you are adding, you add the imaginary part together. You add the real part together. Don't forget, in my last video, I told you that your complex number contains both imaginary part and real part. So when you are adding, you add the real part, the one that doesn't contain this complex. You add the real part together. Then you add what? The imaginary part together. Now let's add. Z1 plus Z2 will be equal to A1 plus A2 plus IB1 plus IB2. Are we together? This is IB2. So from here, you have A1 plus A2, then plus. If you notice, I is common to both of them, so I can factorize out. Factorization means what is common to both of them, bring it out, then write the other part. I is here, so I can decide to have I into what? B1 plus what? B2. So this is how you add complex number. So I come again. Z1 is given as this. Z2 is given as this. We are asked to add Z1 and Z2. Z1 is this, Z2 is this. When you are adding, all you have to do is to add the real parts together. Real part is the part that doesn't contain this I. You add what? The imaginary part together. Then you factorize your I out. Then you write this out. I believe you understand that. So let's take an example. Let's say we have example now. Let's say we have Z1 to be equal to minus 3 plus 2I. Z2 is equal to minus 1 minus I. Find Z1 plus Z2. Example is Z1 is equal to minus 3 plus 2I. Z2 is what? Minus 1 minus I. So the question says we should find Z1 plus Z2. So just the way I illustrated this, I'm going to follow the same procedure to solve for this. Now, Z1 plus Z2 will be equal to, Z1 is what? Minus 3 plus 2I plus minus 1 minus I. So we can now add. Don't forget, how do we add? You add the real part together, you add the imaginary part together. So the real part here is minus 3 and minus 1. So this is minus 3 plus minus 1, then plus 2I plus minus I. I decided to put it in brackets here because of this different sign. So this is minus 3 plus multiplied by minus is minus. So this is minus 3 minus 1 plus 2I plus multiplied by minus is minus. This is minus I. So from here, I will have minus 3 minus 1. Don't forget, as I always told you, when you have minus means you are owing. So minus 3 means you are owing 3. Minus 1 means you are owing 1. So when you are owing someone 3, you are owing another person 1. Altogether, you are owing 4. So this is minus 4. This is plus 2I minus 1. You have 2I plus. You are owing 1. So when you have 2 and you are owing 1, if you pay that one, you still be having what? I. So the answer is minus 4 plus I. I believe we understand. Now, let me just do a brief recap. Z1 plus Z2. This is Z1 minus 3 plus 2I. Z2, this is minus 1 minus I. So minus 3 plus, you add the real part, minus 3 plus minus 1. Then minus plus 2I plus minus I. So from here, I have minus 3 plus times minus give me minus 1. This plus, this is it here. This is 2I plus times minus give me minus I. So from here, I added minus 3 minus 1 give me minus 4 plus 2I minus I give me plus I. I believe we understand now. Now, after this addition, now we'll move to subtraction of complex number. So let's take an instance. We have Z1 is equal to A1 plus IB1. We have Z2 to be equal to A2 plus IB2. Don't get confused with all these things. I'm just using this one as instance. Because complex number will always be in these forms. So the question is, since it's subtraction, the question is Z1 minus Z2. You can also be asked to find Z2 minus Z1. You can be asked to find Z1 minus Z2. Whichever is the case may be. Now let's subtract. Now we have Z1 minus Z2. Z1 is, so Z1 minus Z2 will be equal to, Z1 is A1 plus IB1 minus A2 plus IB2. Now we can subtract. Here also, when you are subtracting, you subtract the real part, you subtract the imaginary part. So here, if we are subtracting, we have A1 minus A2 plus IB1 minus IB2. So this is I. This is A1 minus A2 because we are subtracting now. Then plus, I write plus here because I'm having plus here. So this is plus IB1 minus what? IB2 because I'm subtracting them. So from here, I will have A1 minus A2 plus Between this and this, what do they have in common? They have I in common, so I can factorize I out. So when I factorize I out, I'll be left with what? B1 minus B2. So this is just like the same thing as, because if you multiply I multiply by B1 give you IB1, I multiply by B2 give you IB2. So this is how you subtract. This is how you subtract. So we will follow this same procedure. Let's take an example now on subtraction. So example. Now let's use the same example. Let's use that same example we use for addition. Let's use it for subtraction also. So let's say we have Z1 is equal to minus 3 plus 2i. Z2 is equal to minus 1 minus I. Find Z1 minus Z2. Now the question says find Z1 minus Z2. So Z1 minus Z2 will be equal to, what's our Z1? Our Z1 is minus 3 plus 2i minus 1 minus I. So when we are subtracting, you subtract the real part, you subtract the imaginary part. So the real part is minus 3 and minus 1. So this will be minus 3 minus 1. Are we together? Minus 3 minus 1. Then plus 2i minus what? Minus I. So this minus 3, this will be minus 3. Minus times minus give us plus. So this is plus 1 plus 2i minus I. So minus 3 plus 1, just as I explained earlier, minus 3 means you are owing 3. Just assume that you are owing 3. Plus I means you have I. So minus 3 plus I, you are owing 3, you are owing 1. So minus 3 plus I, you are owing 3 and you have 1. So when you are owing 3 and you have 1, you still be left with, you still be owing 2. So plus 2i minus I. So this is 2i minus 1. You have 2i, you want to remove 1i. So it will give us what? I. So the final answer is minus 2 plus 3i. Let me just take a recap on this. Z1, this Z1 is this. Z2 is this. We have to find Z1 minus Z2. So Z1 minus Z2 will be Z1 minus Z2, because this is what we have as Z1, this is what we have as Z2. So don't forget, you subtract the real part and the imaginary part to this. Subtract the real part from itself, subtract the imaginary part from itself. So the real part is minus 3 minus 1. Then the imaginary part is 2i minus I. So from here, minus 3 minus 1. When you multiply, minus times minus give us plus. So plus 1. Then 2i minus I. So minus 3 plus 1 give us minus 2. I explained earlier. Then plus what?